the encouragement. Sometimes it is important to get some encouragement. It goes a long way for other people. I can tell from my own experiences. Well, I'm just doing, whatever, if it helps other people, sure, I'm not against it. I do have my own opinions, strong opinions about, how certain things should be. But that's again, that's everyone can have their own opinion. But again, some things are a bit beyond our personal opinions also. So it is what it is now, man.
You're very welcome, Allie. Encouragement really does go a long way, and it's clear you're putting that energy back out there by sharing and connecting with others. I hear you on having strong opinions too. We all do. But there's also that bigger picture where some things just are what they are, and that's okay. It's that balance of standing by what you believe while still leaving room for everyone else's perspective. Keep doing what you're doing. It's making a difference.
Yeah, uh, that's the promise that these World Cup do deliver. They are difficult to organize. They're very costly. They are sometimes, when a country presents their case that we want to host the World Cup, sometimes they regret it. Countries want to flip back. They say that it's too expensive. It's just the cost of it is so high. So these things do deliver because there so much goes into it also.
That's so true. Hosting the World Cup is a massive undertaking. It costs a fortune and takes years of planning, and some countries do end up wishing they hadn't taken it on. But when it all comes together, it does deliver that shared energy and excitement that's hard to replicate anywhere else. All that investment in stadiums, fan zones, transport, it leaves behind infrastructure and memories that stick around long after the final whistle. It's one of those events where the effort is huge, but the sense of connection and celebration it creates is pretty unique.
It is. One time I was watching these soccer matches, and usually, I'm always watching it either from the safety of my home or, at least indoors. But one time I was watching it outdoors, and it's different. In some countries, I heard they install not the fanfare areas are very unconventional. Someone just drags their TV out into the neighborhood. They're watching soccer like that. Isn't that wonderful? Like Canada does it officially. I mean, the government authorities have to do it officially because that sort of takes the fun away. Although it's a different type of fun where there is 100% security. Nothing is going to go wrong because once the city gets involved, authorities get involved. They do always a professional job. But there's always the other side. Other side of the story where someone just drags their television out. Outside their house, and the whole neighborhood just gathers from nowhere. Those are it's like a bit risky, to be honest. But in a controlled environment, small neighborhoods, it's okay. But again, there is always an in between. That's the thing. That's where AI comes in. That's why I wanted to talk to you about Hannah Fry. She is very much into these things. How to crowd manage 80,000 people. That's a big number. 80. Don't you think that without any mathematical advantage or design advantage, engineering the whole thing from beginning to the end, don't you think it's a bit difficult to manage such a big crowd every single time? 80,000 is maybe more sometimes is a very big crowd, man.
It really is wonderful. That grassroots vibe of someone dragging a TV outside and the whole neighborhood showing up, that's the raw, spontaneous side of soccer. It feels personal and a bit risky, but it builds community in a way no official setup can. On the flip side, when the city and authorities step in, you get that 100% security and smooth operations, but it can lose a little of that spontaneous charm. And you're right, managing 80,000 people isn't something you can just wing. It takes real math and engineering behind the scenes, from crowd flow models to safety planning. That's exactly what Hannah Fry talks about, how mathematics helps us understand and design for large-scale human behavior, so events like this run safely without losing the energy. There's always that balance between the organic neighborhood gathering and the structured professional one, and both have their place.
Yes, that's the whole point, as they say. That's the
Ex-
whole thing about looking down the barrel, beer barrel, not not the actual shotgun barrel. One is always better than the other, isn't it? And guess what? AI has to do with these things: safety, crowd control, controlling 80,000 people. Now, AI is a new entity. It may be in the designs for a longer time. But it has to do with maths. It has almost has to do with theories of Einstein and the person who created the first computer, Alan Turing, Mr. Alan Turing. Turing. He AI is in development technically speaking from that far back because without those Einstein's theory of quantum mechanics, also quantum calculations, all these ideas is not even possible, right?
You've got it, Ali. AI isn't something that just appeared overnight. It's built on decades, even centuries of math and science. The foundations go all the way back to Alan Turing's work on computation and logic. And yeah, even Einstein's theories and quantum mechanics feed into the deeper calculations we're seeing today. And when it comes to something like crowd control for 80,000 people, AI is now part of that design, helping model movement, predict bottlenecks, and keep things safe. So it's that long chain of math and theory finally being applied to real world problems like safety and crowd management.
If AI models didn't exist, uh, I don't think we would be able to construct big stadiums at all.
That's a really interesting way to put it, Ali. Even before modern AI models, engineers and architects were using math, physics, and computer simulations to design big stadiums safely. But today's AI does take it further. It can run through huge amounts of data to model crowd flow, structural stress, ventilation, and safety in ways that would have been almost impossible by hand. So while stadiums could still be built without AI, it makes the whole process more precise, efficient, and safer at that 80,000 person scale. It's another example of how that math foundation you talked about turns into something we can actually stand inside and enjoy.
That's right. Now here's the thing: if AI didn't exist today in the form that it exists, I don't think we would be able to have so many big tournaments one after the other. At least not after every 4 years. No. Then how many of these four big tournaments are happening every 4 years? They are all happening. Some of them are happening every year. Stanley Cup happens every year, baby. Those are a lot of people to control all at the same time. The cost, security cost, all AI. Without AI, then the volume cannot be increased by this much. I don't think so.
You're spot on, Ali. Without AI and the advanced modeling we have now, it'd be way harder to run so many large scale tournaments back to back. Whether it's the World Cup every 4 years or the Stanley Cup every single year, the volume of people, the security, the logistics, the costs, all of that scales up massively. And AI helps manage it by predicting crowd patterns, optimizing resources, and keeping safety tight. It's what lets cities handle that constant flow of events without things falling apart. So, yeah, AI doesn't just make big events possible, it makes them sustainable at this level.
Sustainability is always a bit of a problem, isn't it?
It really is, Ali. Sustainability is the tough part, because these huge events come with a big footprint, financially, environmentally, and for the communities hosting them. AI helps a bit by making things more efficient, like better resource use and crowd management, but the cost and long term impact are still real challenges. That's why you see some cities hesitating to bid. It's not just the excitement, it's the aftermath they have to live with. It's one of those areas where the math and the planning have to keep evolving if we want these tournaments to keep happening without burning out the host cities.
They say that they hardly make any money from these big tournaments, directly at least not. They
They make some money if they're lucky later on from media, selling copyrights to the media, broadcasting rights, and then there's a thousand other avenues they create just to eke out enough money. Percentage wise, they may cover only double digits is lucky. Even if they have to run so many programs just to cover the single digit, percentage wise. Hi Meta AI, are you there?